Hey there, Power Platform enthusiasts. Sorry about the shoulder kitty. She will not leave me alone. Today, we're excited to share with you a comprehensive guide on creating a capital expenditure or CapEx Power App that brings together a multitude of functionalities to enhance your business process. In this tutorial, we're going to dive into structuring your data for scalability and future-proofing. We want to ensure that your app remains robust as your data grows. We're going to leverage modern controls to create an intuitive tabbed view, improving navigation and user experience. We're going to implement responsive design elements as well, so your app looks great on any device, whether it's a desktop or a tablet. We're going to create an editable-like grid experience for seamless data entry and editing. We're going to create multiple filters on galleries to allow users to quickly find and interact with the data that they need. We're going to manage multiple attachments with live document visibility within the app. We want to make it easy for end users to access and view their important documents. We're going to set up approvals, including assignments, documentation, status tracking, and comments to streamline the approval processes. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of how to leverage these powerful features to build a comprehensive CapEx Power App that's both functional and future-proof. Now, if you're interested in a deeper dive, I'll be creating a step-by-step tutorial for each section of the app if there's enough interest. So be sure to leave a comment below if there's a specific part you'd like to learn more about, and hit subscribe so that you get notified of the new videos. Let's get started. First, let's look at how to structure your data sources to ensure that they're scalable and ready for future growth. Our CapEx was designed with 4 data sources. For my use case, we're leveraging SharePoint, but you could leverage Dataverse, SQL, whichever one of the hundreds of connectors Power Apps allows nowadays. So our data sources for this app consist of the primary CapEx project. This is the main project details, the project owner, the project requester, start dates, all of those information criteria. The second data source would be all of the line items, the expense details. So these are all the individual items that make up the CapEx project. Our third data set were the approvals. This is where we captured for each stage of the project who was assigned to the approval process, when they approved it, who approved it, and any comments that they tied to their approval. And then the final one are all the attachments. Every individual attachment that could be related back to that individual CapEx. Let's look at how these are handled in the app. If we look at this fake flight simulator upgrade project, I'm not in finance. So here we have the request details, the overall project scope. This is a flight simulator upgrade in my dev tenant. This is Sky Ranch Aviation, doesn't exist. These colors and nothing in this app are tied to whatever customer we had that requested this app. All dummy data. Here we have the title, the start date, the end date, all the report classes, the business purposes, leveraging modern controls. So we get this very nice user interface here. The expense details are stored as line items here within SharePoint. They're all tied back to the master by the master ID. Then we have the attachments for this item, again tied in a library to the master ID for the main record. And then back here to approvals, here we have the people that were assigned to the approval, when it was completed, who it was completed by, and the comments. This gives everyone in the project a visible queue or a visible status as to where the project is sitting. Now, why did we do 4 data sources? We could have just done one list with attachments and then had columns for each individual item. Well, having it structured this way allows us to expand. This can give us as many projects as we want, with as many line items as we want, with as many approval processes as we want, and this library could expand to hold as many data points as we like. This gives us the ability to not only have this app work this week, but work 5 years in the future. Next, let's get into the modern controls and the tabbed view functionality. I'm using modern controls throughout the CapEx app, including one that just dropped this week. If you see in this button, I have an icon. That wasn't available as a built-in functionality just a week or 2 ago. Let's dive into one of the individual CapEx projects. And here we're leveraging modern tabs to give us the tabbed view without having to do it the old school way of leveraging buttons. Let's look at how we're doing this. Back to our main screen, I'm going to click New Request, and then I'm going to get out of the app. If we click on the Tree View menu and go to our tab list, and then within the tab list we go to Items, either in this drop down or over here on the right, we're able to see that we're generating tabbed values from variables. So we have a one pane or one screen to do the editing and seeing the details of the CapEx project, as well as the ability to create new items all in one screen. So if you have an update to make, you're only doing it in one place and not going to multiple screens to do it. With change being the new normal, Microsoft is pushing out updates to the Power Platform almost on a daily basis. Let's look at one of the new options that have shown up recently, and by recently I mean this week, within the Power Platform sphere. If I go in my Power App to the button for New, you don't see it on the screen because we're leveraging responsive. It's off here to the right. But I have, and we play the app, there it is right there, we have an icon function within the app, within the button now. So if I go back into the button, now in the Properties menu, we have an icon. We didn't have that a week or so ago. Modern controls are great. Now let's talk about the responsive design elements. The app looks very different in preview mode than it does within Power Apps. Now I'm leveraging two different methodologies here. I'm leveraging responsive containers for the header, and every item that we add here is controlled by the header controls. We have a gap set to 20, which means there will be 20 pixels in between each element within the header, but we also have left and right padding set up so that the 20 pixels is also carried through, and it looks symmetrical. If I were to move the 20, that's what it looks like. It just looks better with the 20. Now you notice in the gallery that everything is kind of grouped on top of each other and doesn't look so good here, but when we preview it, it looks fabulous. It's using all the space that is provided. Let's just really quickly look at how I did that. Here I have, for my gallery functionality, I like to use the title as the key element. It's the first thing that I put in there, and I generally give it an X and Y that's static. Everything else within the gallery, the template for that particular line item, is referencing the title. So if I select on the text or on the status here and I come over to X, you'll see if I hover my mouse over it, I have an FX. That means there's a formula in there. If I click on it, it tells me that this X value is referenced and is the same as the label title X value. And see how it gives me a nice green border here, and it highlights the label in green down here as well. That's giving me a visual cue as to what it's referencing. The Y value is also from the title. I'm labeled from the title Y value and the title height. That gives me where we put this. I could add a bit of padding here, and you see how it moves it down. I'm going to take that back out. Now the width of the title is also dynamic. If we hover over the width size, it gives us an FX, and if I click on it, it tells me that it's taking the parent.width, the width of the gallery, and dividing it by 3. So it is going to use up, when we preview the app, a third of the space. Well, we can use that to reference and use it for everything else as well. So if we look at the next label to the right, this is the project start, it's also referencing the title X and the title width. The Y is referencing the title Y, and the width is taking a quarter of what the parent's given us. Now, if we play the app one more time, I promise this is the last time we're going to bounce back and forth. Look at this icon here. The icon is also leveraging dynamic, but it's doing it in a different way. The next arrow is taking the parent template width. That's the width of the gallery space for this line item, and it's subtracting itself, the width of itself, minus 12 to give it a little bit of padding. Now, the Y value is taking the parent template height, which means the height of this gallery's item, dividing it by 2, and then subtracting its own height divided by 2. I will put that code in the comments down below in the description for y'all for your reference points. Here I've added the modern editable grid functionality into the Power App. It's very similar to Excel, and end users find it very easy to navigate. You'll see here as I click New, it gives me a new line item. Because I accidentally hit New twice, it gave me 2, so I can hit the delete icon, and it gives me a notification that I've deleted something. So let's go ahead and add in Paint. We're going to, since this is a German project, we're going to say it's going to be $505, and the amount local is going to be 202. And I'm doing weird numbers for a reason. I'll show you why in a second. And you notice as I hit Tab, it moved me along in the app. For the asset class, I'm going to select equipment. The quantity is going to be 2. The unit of measure is going to be each, and it's going to be a capital expense. I'm going to hit Submit, and that saves the record back to our SharePoint list. We get a notification for the end user, and the reason that I did 505 is to show you that here at the bottom, it's doing a tally. We have the local sum, and the US dollar sum. So this is giving us immediate feedback as to how the project is progressing using the grid-like functionality of Excel to make it easy for our end users. The easier you make these apps for the end users, the happier their experience will be, the more productive they'll be, and the more likely they are to use your app. On our main screen here, we've implemented multiple filters to enable the end users to find the data that they're needing easily. We can filter by report class. Let's say we only want to see technology upgrades. We have a reset button that'll allow us to set it back to defaults. We can filter by business purpose. Let's say technology upgrade. And research and development, there isn't anything. Let's look for business purpose expansion. And let's look at equipment purchase, nothing. Let's look by region, North America, and expansion. There we've got something, and then we can go directly into what we're looking for. Go hit cancel and go back home. We can also search by text within the description. So let's look for anything aviation. Let's look for weather, and let's look for safety. Implementing filters gives your end users a better user experience. Within our tabbed view, I also have a section for attachments. And this section is filtering our document library, which is right here, by the master ID of the main project record. So we're able to click on each individual attachment and get a live view of it within your app. Again, making it easy as possible for your end users. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to explain how we did this as well. Approval workflows are one of the most commonly leveraged Power Automates that are tied to Power Apps. Here we have an example of how we can document the approval workflows and where individual items are in the process. If we look at this individual project, we can see that the regional finance approvers, when this project was submitted, were selected to be Baron and Kate. We can then see that the regional finance approver was Baron, and he approved it on 5/14. Now what this means is in the Power App, we had an approval process set to first to approve. Baron was the first one to approve it. He approved it on 5/14 at 11:08 a.m. and he had no comments. Now because he had no comments, we actually are putting in here no comments provided. That way we know for a fact that nothing was said. We have the same approval processes going on for accounting and corporate, and we're able to see that corporate finance is finally approved it, which means that this CapEx is complete. This sort of documentation is crucial for so many different Power Apps because it gives the end users visibility as to where things stand. If they can't tell where things stand in the Power App, they're going to call somebody, which negates the whole purpose of having a Power App. And that's a wrap on our comprehensive guide to creating a powerful CapEx Power App. We've covered a lot of ground today, from structuring data sources for future proofing to implementing responsive design, editable grids, multiple filters, and a robust approval workflow. I hope you found these insights valuable and are excited to apply these techniques in your own apps. This is just the beginning though. Each feature we talked about today has its own in-depth intricacies, and I'm eager to dive into each one of them with you, with some help apparently. If there's a specific part of the app you'd like to master, let me know in the comments below and I'll create a step-by-step tutorial based on your feedback, so your input directly shapes our future content. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with my latest videos. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. More advanced features, best practices, and expert tips are on the way. Thanks for joining us on this journey to create an efficient and future-proofed Power App for capital expenditures. Until next time, keep exploring the power of the Power Platform and happy building. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts, questions, and any topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. Sharing is caring, so don't forget to share this tutorial with your fellow Power Apps enthusiasts. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep rocking Power Apps like a true pro. See you in the next video.